Okay, we're going to try to get through this quickly because the last video was far too long. I don't think anyone's interested in listening to me talk for 20 minutes. Doing a review here of the Blue Ripper G2 from Omega Diamond. I wish I had a review before I purchased the thing, so perhaps someone else will get some benefit out of this. We're going to very quickly and in less detail, I'll post a longer version of this later if you do this for a living and you want details. But for now, we're going to do a very quick list. Deal breakers, the reasons why the coworkers have appropriately renamed the Blue Ripper G2. And I'll back up 1 second quickly. I've got a Junior that we've used since 2014. It's fantastic. Love it. Love Omega. They've done fantastic work for us in the past. We went with the upgraded version here. We didn't want to use the 3 horsepower to 5 horsepower. We like the fact that the grinder can be swapped in and out if it blows, because it will blow if you cut it long enough with it, or if you have employees that don't care or don't know what they're doing. Anyway, deal breakers. This thing cuts at, with any of the 4 or 5 motors that come with it, you're going to get 1.5 feet a minute, which is complete garbage because the Junior cuts at that rate. They advertise 6 feet a minute, but that's on 2 cm. They try to make it more impressive by saying 2 cm black stone. Who cares? 3 cm. We've timed it. It's 1.5 feet a minute. And on top of that, that would be fine. I could live with that. But it takes 2 people if you're going to push this thing for any more than 2 feet. It's absolutely impossible to push. And the reason it's impossible to push is all the motors that they sell with this spin at either 6,000 or 6,600 RPM. That's wildly insufficient. Why they've done that, I have no idea, especially because they had control of the gear sizing. And they could have changed the gears from 2 to 1 to make the speed faster. I don't know, but you'll see the Alpha blade is rated to 5,900 RPM and the setup is 3,000. It's impossible. You can't push the thing. I can't believe anyone's tested this and walked away saying, yeah, that was fantastic. It was a good experience. No, you're dying trying to push this. So you can remedy that. You can swap the motor and you can get, there's various models that spin 9,000 or 8,800. Cheap Harbor Freight. Throw that on there, save yourself the money. I don't know where the label is. It's 90 bucks, spins at 9,000 RPM, and that gave us an increase of cutting speed from 1.5 feet a minute to 3 feet a minute, which was fantastic. If we could have kept it running at 3 feet a minute, I would not be making this video. But nevertheless, don't pay $200 for a grinder that goes 6,000 RPM. It's complete nonsense. I don't know why they've done that. The other big deal breaker here, before we get into a little petty stuff, is the alignment. You can't accurately adjust the alignment. You've got 2 bolts. I won't go into it. You can see their videos. You got 2 bolts, and you've got to hope to God that when you tighten the bolt with your alignment where you want it, that it stays there. And it doesn't. So you end up just loosen, tighten, loosen, tighten, loosen, tighten, hoping that one of these times it aligns properly. Okay, I could live with that if it would hold alignment, but it doesn't. We cut 2 feet. I'm sure it was aligned, very accurately measured, no problems. 2 feet into the cut, shifted out of alignment, pulled it back off, put the level on it, did everything they say, and it's out of alignment significantly in 2 feet. And my only guess is because it's only held in with 2 bolts, and this thing vibrates like crazy. It's in a wet surface environment. It's aluminum on aluminum. Yeah, it just doesn't hold alignment. Forget about it. You're not even have a chance. So complete deal breaker. You also can't adjust plumb of the blade, and it doesn't come plumb from the factory. At least mine didn't. It was out almost a 1/16, a little under a 1/16 of plumb. You can't fix that, although it appears that you can try, because it came factory with a shim under that housing to fix the plumb, and it's not a big enough shim. They needed a bigger shim even because it's still out of plumb, and that's just a razor blade. Fair play if you're in a shop and that's all you've got is a razor blade. You're a professional company and you're shimming with a piece of razor blade. I don't know. I don't like it. Invest a little bit. You'll be all right. Those are the 2 deal. We got one more. Sorry, just kidding. Those are the 2 immediate deal breakers. There's one further one, but you won't find that out unless you happen to use it for a significant period of time. And that's because the Junior that we've got, that we've used since, again, 2014, is worn down to the point that, now we've corrected it since, but the rail touches the carriage because we thought the bearings went out. The bearings didn't go out. What's happened is, of course, they've got a bearing in here. I'm jumping into this. There's a housing for that bearing. And it's, of course, hardened. And it's sitting on aluminum. So you can imagine, with a slurry of granite and quartz and water, of course, that spinning rod within the bearing wears a hole in the aluminum beyond repair. Here is an old one. This has got maybe 150, 200 kitchens on it. It's very difficult to see, but you can see there how worn down that is. It's worn down to the point that, again, the carriage rides on the rail. The bearings, you can take them off. We're not using them. They don't do anything anymore. And you can't fix it. You can fix the housing. You can get a new housing. I'm fine with that. Every 100 kitchens having to replace the housing. Not a problem. I'm okay with that. However, how are you going to fix that? I'll tear the Junior apart one day, show you if I feel like it. How are you going to fix that? It's worn down. This one's fine. It's brand new. But it looks identical on the underside as that. I don't know what they were thinking. Put Teflon in there. Put something. I don't know about Teflon, but put something in there so that that doesn't wear away. Those are the 3 deal breakers, and then I'll quickly run through a list of annoying crap that they should have figured out that I can't believe has been tested thoroughly. And that would be, in no particular order, the radius of this here is different than the radius that it moves up and down at. So if I move my handle, which I'll explain in a minute, a little bit, you can't go up. Even though it can fall, it can't go up because the radius is different. So you have to fight with it. And the last thing you want to do with a spinning blade inside of expensive granite and, you know, short turnaround times is fuss with the stupid handle. And it leads us nicely into the handle. You'll notice this isn't the stock handle. They come out with a new handle. It's over here. Great. Glad you came up with it. You knew it was broken. You go, poor design. It broke on our first kitchen. They come up with a new one. But you know what they didn't do? They didn't bother to send it to all the people, at least not to me, that had purchased a G2 from them with a faulty handle. Send the handle. You know it's faulty. Send the $2 handle to your customers instead of making them angry when they could potentially already be angry and doing review videos that don't put you in a positive light. The belt falls off. I think it's fallen off 3 times. We've had it, I don't know, we've had it 2 months, but we haven't used it very much because of all the mentioned issues. So the belt jumps off. It's very difficult. I shouldn't say very difficult. It's way more time consuming than it needs to be. Don't make it fall off. Figure it out. You can't measure to the blade from the left side. Over here on the left, this is the left, you can't measure to anything on the blade. So we'll go, okay, we'll just measure to the rail, except for the distance between the rail and the blade isn't an even number. It's not 1, it's 1 in 3/32 or something. We're not going to do math every time we're trying to line up a cut. We can add 1. Why didn't you make it 1? You made it 1 and change. Ridiculous. Very annoying. What else do we have? 7/8 arbor is garbage. Why they made a 7/8 arbor, I assume, is so that they can sell their specific blades because nobody else makes 7/8 arbor on a 10-inch blade. Alpha's now changed. Alpha's now sending 7/8 adapters to their blades. You can see it's listed as a 1-inch arbor and a 5/8 arbor. Now, at least if you ask them, they'll send a 7/8 adapter. I don't know why you've chose to go with such a non-standard size for a 10-inch blade. Call around, you'll find out 7/8 isn't a standard size for most 10-inch blades. What else have we got? The thumb screws, and this is a good idea, except it's not quite executed well. This is so that you can change a blade without using tools. Fair enough, except for you can't really get it tight enough. You can see in 3 kitchens we've worn away all the coating that used to be on this blade because you cannot get it tight enough by hand, so you end up using a tool anyway. And then you end up with this mild yet annoying safety hazard, a knurled, spinning, dangerous t-shirt catching, beard ripping off. Put your housing over it. On its own, I can live with it, but not with everything else. The rail tolerance is garbage. My rails vary up to a 1/16 inside diameter. This dimension here, it's up to a 1/16, so then you get slop, which you can hear. That's ridiculous. You can't get your rails within a 1/16 tolerance. So that's extremely annoying. Okay, that might be it. One more, the motor. You'll see, I'm quite familiar with Makita tools. We go through them because it's a harsh environment. The Makita grinder they gave us to run this, which I requested Makita. It's one of the 4 or 5 options they give you. Again, don't get them. They're all garbage and they spin far too slow. They put a GFCI on there. I'm assuming Omega put the GFCI on there, which promptly broke and left us without a working motor. So then we decided to put on one of our smaller, I forget which one of these guys. We decided to run it, try to get more speed. That blew up in about 1.5 feet. And we were babying it. So don't put a small grinder on this. You have to use a 7 or 9 inch. So while they do sell 9-inch grinders, they advertise as any grinder can fit, which is true. Any grinder can fit, but you definitely should not use a grinder that is not 9 inches, perhaps more. So that's going to be the review. We're going to keep it short. I'm going to post this privately, send it to them, let them hear my thoughts. I don't know that they care. They probably don't. I'm a nobody. But this would go easier than a phone call, me being able to point out all these issues in a video. If they ignore it or don't address the issues, then we'll make it public and maybe 3 people will watch it. Who knows? But if I was one of those 3, I would have been very grateful to have heard this review before spending thousands of dollars on a paperweight, which is what it now is. So hopefully, Omega, give me a call. We'll talk about it. I'd love to help you make it good because it's got potential, but right now it is shit, as the name says. Thanks.